caused by the presence or imminence of danger. Fear is defined as a feeling of...
Why do you think people believe in ghosts?
Caused by the presence or imminence of danger.
I'm so sorry.
Why do you want? People believe in ghosts.
I'm so sorry. I see dead people.
There is a presence in the house with you.
We can't hurt you if you don't believe.
I suggest you leave that house.
Do it, Gordon.
Tell me what you do. It's not even real, okay?
It's just a girl.
What is that? What the hell is that?
I'm scared, Mom.
Scared of what?
Deb.
I saw something in her.
I should have given you to God when you were born.
Let me give you a little inside information about God. God likes to watch.
You think she's possessed?
He's a sadist!
I've seen some horrible things. Nothing that can't be explained by human nature.
Then you haven't seen true evil.
You're all going to die tonight.
Tried to make you immortal.
You tried to make me a killer!
What are you?
I'm flesh and blood, but not human. I haven't been human for 200 years.
You never grow old, Michael. You never die. But you must feed.
The full moon can make people go mad, like crazy.
I can't be like this!
Sometimes
I'm dying!
that is what I
The Home Office has issued a statement urging people to stay in their homes and await further instructions.
When no one official is prepared to comment, religious groups are calling it Judgment Day.
I saw it. It was a virus. An infection.
I remember everything.
You want to help your family? Let's figure out how we stop this.
He's infected!
Attackers can be stopped by removing the head or destroying the brain. I will repeat that by removing the head or destroying the brain.
You tried to make me a killer!
I want to play a game.
Whether by knife, or whether by gun, losing your life can sometimes be fun.
Let the killing commence! Here's Johnny.
Why are you scared?
Hello and welcome to The Conscious Mind. I am your host, Anthony Agati, along with my skeletal co-host, Ghost, Nina Manfrey.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Keep in mind and remember, as always, every Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Facebook Live at the Conscious Mind page. Tonight we're going to talk about dreams. I know everybody here who is listening dreams. Everybody has dreams. Nina, do you dream?
They say I do, but I just don't remember them.
Really? You don't remember any at all?
It's very rare that I remember a dream.
Can you recall a dream now? Like if you were to think about it. Has any dream ever made an impact where you've remembered it for a long time?
There was one dream
Uh-oh.
that I had when I was like, I don't know. I was definitely a kid. I was like 12 or 13 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And do I have to say it on air? It's so embarrassing.
I didn't offer this story up. You did.
It's because it's the only dream I really remember.
Go ahead. Now you've got everybody intrigued. You have to.
It's so stupid too. I was in a convertible car, and I was watching some of the reruns from Happy Days.
In the car?
And I was watching reruns of Happy Days. P.S. Then I went to sleep.
Oh.
And in my dream, I was in this convertible, like this old-fashioned convertible car.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in the passenger seat, and the person that was driving was Fonzie.
Hey!
And we were driving so fast, and I was like, oh my God, what are you doing? And then we hit this ramp, and we tried to jump a big hole.
Just like Fonzie did when he was skiing and he was jumping over the shark. Remember that episode?
Something like that. Yeah, something like that.
And this, you remember after all these years?
After all these years, it had such an impact on me. I don't know why.
What kind of impact did it have on you?
I don't know. It was just so weird, I guess. I don't know. Like, it was just the strangest thing that I dreamt about Fonzie, I guess.
Well, is it so strange? I mean, you just finished watching the show, so...
Yeah, but I watch a lot of shows. I don't have dreams about other people.
And you remember it was a pink... Oh, no, not a pink Cadillac. You remember?
I remember it was a convertible. It was like an old-fashioned car, but I don't remember the color of it. But I know it was old-fashioned. It had like white leather seats inside.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember him driving so fast, like the wind was hitting me. And I was like, what are you doing? And why am I here? And I was like, oh my God, it's Fonzie. The next thing I know, I'm hitting this ramp and I'm jumping over this crater. And then I woke up. And I'm sure that the people listening are like, why are we talking about Fonzie and Nina's stupid dream from when she was 13?
What's wrong with that? I mean, it's not like you revealed, you were having sex in the convertible and,
I know, but to be honest, like, that's the only dream I really... that I really, really remember.
But you do dream. I mean, obviously you do dream every night.
Right. Yes, I do. I am aware of that. I just don't remember it. I know I do it, but I don't remember them.
Even in sort of traumatic situations like a death in the family or something, where you're sort of, I guess, emotionally burdened or attacked or whatever. They say you tend to dream a lot more because your emotions are all up in a roar, and inside that you tend to have more of an imagination than when you go to sleep. You've never encountered that?
I mean, not that I remember.
And
I did have the falling feeling thing once, but I don't really think I was fully asleep when I had that go on.
Okay.
But otherwise, I don't remember many. I mean, that one I remember clearly, honestly. But otherwise, I really don't remember any.
See, now, I've had... I don't remember dreams just like you. I don't remember them every day or every night. But there have been 2 different types of dreams that I've had over the years that are recurring. Have you ever had any recurring dreams? Like the same thing happening over and over again?
Not that I can remember, no.
I've had 2 completely different dreams. But I remember them starting in early teenage years, and then up until, probably in my 30s. I haven't dreamt of it in probably maybe, 5-8 years. But the 2 dreams that I've had, one, and They like make no sense at all. None whatsoever at all. One of the dreams, it's me running in a sort of grass field, if you can picture it. Not high grass or anything, just, low cut grass or whatever. And to the right of me, there are these trees, just a bunch of trees. And where I'm running to is this white house on the left side. It's sort of like, I guess I'm running around this house, and I go in the house, and it's a huge house. It doesn't look big on the outside. It almost looks like a ranch style house. But when I walk into this house, it's got columns, and the ceilings are like, 20 feet high or whatever. And it's just me walking up these stairs to the top level, and I look down, and then that's it. It's over.
Really?
It doesn't make sense. None whatsoever.
And this is a dream you have often?
I've had that dream at least 4 times. At least 4 times in my life. But there's another one that I've had, I think more than that, probably double than that. And there was a period of time where I remembered over a couple of weeks, I was having these dreams either every day or every other day. I could have been having them every day. I just didn't remember them every day. But, and this is going to sound so stupid.
Come on, I was sitting next to Fonzie. Give me a break.
In a convertible, yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm assuming I'm underground in some underground, not city, but I know I'm enclosed in something because it's sort of like dark walls or dark brown walls or whatever it is. But there's these huge pipes. Huge. I'm talking maybe 20-foot radius. And then some are a little bit smaller, some are bigger. And they're all running all over the place. But they're pipes. I know they're pipes. And I'm running along the tops of these pipes going I have no idea where. Nowhere. And that's it.
So, like Super Mario Brothers type pipes?
Yeah, actually, yes. They look like that. But they weren't green. They were like, I remember the color. They were sort of like a dark maroon red. But I just remember it like being dirty and whatever. So there's probably brown mixed into that. But those are the 2 weirdest, you could say, stupid dreams that I've had that just don't mean anything. And they don't relate to any, like, I could understand if I'm a plumber dreaming something like that.
Right.
If I'm a real estate agent or something, I can understand dreaming of that White House or whatever. I have no idea. And there was a part of me when I was younger, because I couldn't make sense of this at all. I was thinking, I probably have read it somewhere or may have saw a documentary on this, that could this have been something like in my past life that I'm remembering these visions or these experiences or whatever. But they made no sense at all, and they kept bothering me though, because I dreamed the same thing. There was actually one time I actually tried to have a lucid dream. Do you know what a lucid dream is? Yeah,
it's like a dream when you're trying to you're dreaming, but you're dreaming.
Right, like you're taking control of it. So with the one with the house, I remembered this, that while in that dream, I don't know if I was talking to myself or what or my voice was coming through, whatever it was, but I kept saying, why are we here? Why, like there was one time, one of those dreams, I kept saying, why are we here? And it was like I was trying to force myself to try and understand what this house meant and why did it look so small on the outside, and then when I go inside, it's huge and grand like a mansion. And so I remember trying to take control of my dream. I've never been able to do that before, or even after that. But it's strange, right? Stupid almost.
Well, they say that dreams don't always just mean that they mean something. Some people say dreams, no matter what you dream about, are a correlation to something happening in your life. Even though you don't quite understand what the dream is about, they say that sometimes most of the time that when you dream that, it's something going on with your life or something you wished that was happening in your life or to some effect. Even though we don't understand it, that's what some people do say.
Right. And so before we go any further, just want to announce that tonight's show is about dreams. That's what we're talking about tonight, is dreams. And it's not so much we're going to get into, we may get into a little bit of this, but, interpretations of, what does a snake mean in your dream? Or, what does flying or falling mean in your dream? We may touch on those things. But I think the bigger picture about the topic of dreams is the reason why. And for as long as we've been alive, up until this day, September 30th, 2017, the scientific community, medical doctors, anyone that you can think of, they do not have an answer to why we dream. There is no legitimate scientific mathematical reason or explanation to the reason why we dream. Let alone dreaming, scientists still don't even understand fully, 100% fully, why we even sleep, why we go dormant. So Nina, I guess, I'm sure you've done some reading over the past week about dreams, right?
Correct.
So, this is not going to be a test or anything, but just from what you've read and sort of the information that you've gathered, either by watching videos or reading articles, does what you've comprehended jive with what you've always thought about dreams? Like, what is your belief about what dreams are and why we have them?
I always thought that dreams were just, not manifestations, this is the wrong word, but like stuff that's happening in your day. Like, think about it. We go through all day and we have all these things coming at us, right? 15 million things coming at us a day. Work, personal, family, pleasure, whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. So I think at night when we dream, it's a way that our mind is like letting go of stuff. So trying to relax. That's what I always thought it was.
Really? You've always had that theory that was it?
Yeah, because it's time for you to go to bed, so it's time for you to rest. So your brain has to rest too at some point. So I think that I've always thought that's what it was. It was just your brain resting and trying to get rid of all of that stuff. And this is what happens when your brain rests.
Well, interesting enough, that is the modern theory of why we dream or why we sleep and why we dream. That's what modern day scientists and scholars are contemplating and investigating on, is the idea that, when we sleep, even though we don't know fully why we sleep yet, when we sleep, we go into the REM stage, rapid eye movement. Mm-hmm. And that is where dreaming happens. And so there's a whole scientific, theory and, equation on what goes in. And there's 4 stages of REM, and I'm not going to get into that and bore everybody. But that is what the modern scholars are saying, that your brain is compartmentalizing everything that's gone on either that day or even in previous days or of your history, that your conscious mind, I guess, or the there's a part of I think it's the frontal lobe or the back lobe of your brain where it gathers all of your experiences and interactions and history. And what your brain is supposedly doing during this rapid eye movement is picking up the pieces that you need to hold on to for future, for survival, for living, basically. That it's going to then compartmentalize that and put that into sort of your long-term memory, so that you're able to hold on to those things more, and then sort of weed out all of the stuff that really doesn't make sense. Like, it could have been an experience that you had with a waitress at a restaurant during lunch that day, and it was, maybe bad or something like that. You don't really need to hold on to that to live life and to survive. But there may have been some things during your day that you may have learned either by mistake or through perfection or whatever that you've learned. And so those are the things that your brain is trying to hold on to because it knows that you're going to need to know that information in the future. But that's modern day scholars. So I'm really interested in and surprised that is the theory that you've had all along, because not many, even the best like Freud and Carl Jung, which I can talk about, never had those thoughts or methods of ideology for.
Well, Freud was too full of himself to think about it just being, like a download of your stuff or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Let's just face that fact.
Right. Freud was, people call him a sexual predator or whatever. But Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung were the two biggest scholars and psychiatrists in their field during their time, and they actually lived during the same time frame, almost the same time frame, but in different countries. But they had completely different, opposite theories. Did you ever catch any of that during your research, Nina? While you were?
I did. I had come across Freud's stuff, and he said that he believed that dreams are a window into the subconscious. And that you were revealing your unconscious desire, your motivations, all of your thoughts, things like that. That was the way that the dreams were a way for people to satisfy those urges and desires that people found unacceptable in society. Right.
And so his view and his idea was that whatever you were dreaming, if it was a 12-year-old boy dreaming of a girl, it was of sexual desire. It was of prepubescent or teenage lust that he had built up inside of him, that his dreams were sort of bringing to the forefront and showing him and appeasing him and pleasing him with those dreams. That's what Freud's ideology was in regards to dreams. And he sort of stumbled upon the way that dreams are interpreted, or the way that he took dreams to sort of make it sort of more realistic, where he would take dreams to try and decipher what kind of ailments you had and change the way that your psyche was and would treat you mentally. He took those dreams, and that's how he sort of prescribed his method of medication or therapy. And, obviously now people still kind of believe that to be true. People believe that it is your inner desire, that it is something that, if you're dreaming. But, it's kind of weird. Are you really desiring Fonzie according to your dream?
Well, at the time, probably.
Okay. Okay, maybe. All right. So, but his idea is...
I don't know if I desired them jumping over that freaking hole and going so fast in the car, but maybe him.
Maybe he had a little Dukes of Hazzard mix in there, too.
Could you ever think? Could be. No, I never thought of that.
Because I know you and I used to watch that show all the time, too.
Absolutely.
But Sigmund Freud had that type of methodology to his madness. But Carl Jung, who was another psychologist in Switzerland, and it was like the late 1800s, early 1900s. He lived, I think, until 1961, I think it was. But he had a completely different theory as to what dreams were and the interpretation of it and how it manifested itself in our lives. Do you remember reading about Carl Jung?
I do remember reading about it, but I don't remember what it was what his theory was. So
his theory was it wasn't a manifestation. The dreams weren't a manifestation to reveal to you, the dreamer, as to what your desires were. Carl Jung's thought and vision of dreams were that it was your inner psyche, your unconscious mind, not revealing itself, but showing its true form to you. So, for instance, like that example that I just mentioned earlier about the boy dreaming about the girl, Carl Jung has said that that boy was dreaming about the girl because he has a feminine side to his psyche. There is he believed all men and all women had both men and women's psyches. So his theory was that it was the boy's unconscious or subconscious mind revealing itself to the dreamer and empowering those visions and those dreams and those interpretations. It is within themselves. It is within their soul. Carl Jung was a very deep guy. He believed in metaphysical. He believed in God and religion, but he also believed in the universe and the powers of the universe and everything. It's kind of, he wasn't on an equal plane. He was all over the place, really, but he was more internally. He always would find out or try and figure out the you within you, so that could be actually what is the answers to a lot of the ailments that you may have, either mental or physical. So those are two completely different theories, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so those two theories were within mainstream since the early 1900s, up until 1961 when Freud had died, I think, earlier in the 1900s. Carl Jung died in 1961. After that, in the 70s and 80s, that's when scientists had started to rethink a lot of what the most popular psychologists had talked about, Freud and Jung, and re-delved into the topic. And we've come now to modern times where, with more scientific and technology that has been introduced, we're able to find out more about brain waves and the electric currents that are running through your mind, and they're able to measure things. And when you are dreaming, they're able to measure what they could be in comparison to reactions. It's kind of really fascinating. They can compare your dreams and the brain waves of during your dream state to when you are awake. They compare it to the visions that they show you in these medical lab tests, and to see if those same brain waves are reenacted. And I can tell you this, in 10 years, I think people are going to be able to know, by putting electrodes on your head, what you've been dreaming and details about it. So somebody's even talked about even putting it up to, possibly in the future, putting it up to, I don't know, like a television or a computer or something, and actually showing and viewing the actual dream itself.
So like downloading our dreams right onto the screen? That's
right.
Exactly what you're saying?
Right. Almost downloading our dreams, downloading our Brave. Isn't that the fucking most scariest thing in the world?
I don't think that'll ever come to that.
I think it will. Just what we've got going on right now, I think technology in 10, 20 years, we're going to look back and say, holy shit, the stuff that we did back then in 2017 was so archaic to what we're doing now in 2037. No?
I mean, I agree. I'm sure we'll make leaps and jumps in technology, but I think the brain is such a complicated piece of the body that you can't quite figure it all out. I mean, think about it. They still don't know everything that the brain can accomplish and everything that the brain does. I mean, then look at all the research that's gone into that. Well,
to be fair, probably from the 1950s till now, which is, almost 70 years, 60 years or so, that's the length of time where we've had real technology to be able to begin. So from 1950 to, say, 1990, those 40 years was a long period. 40 years. It is a long period of time, but our technology hadn't advanced since then. And so from the 90s till now, look at everything that we've achieved and that we've received from the advancement of technology.
I'm not saying we're not making small steps into that, but I don't think we're ever going to know what really goes on in there and how everything works. I mean, you're talking about 100 years, and we're only tapping into it now.
Correct, because of technology. Everything that we've advanced in the last 20 years.
And it's just a small fraction of what the brain does, is what they're looking at.
Correct. I agree with you. I think, but I think it has to do a lot with the technology that we have now and that we will have in the near future that will be so advanced that it'll blow our minds, because it's almost compounding now. It's almost like a domino, a row of dominoes within the last 20 years. It's just been so quick, so fast, that we've been able to update and upgrade everything that we've done to the point that, it's only making me wonder what it will be in 10 or 20 years from now, with the idea and the advancement of technology, to be able to get into someone's mind and be able to track or even to visually see what is going on in a person's mind. You still think that's far away?
Yep.
Why?
I don't think
Why?
I don't think we'll ever get there.
Why though?
It's just a complex, I don't want to call it machinery, but it's a complex piece of machinery. It's beyond anything that we've ever looked at before or ever know. It's just.
Oh, I think we may not know everything. I'm not saying that I think we're going to be able to. There was that movie. Damn it, and I forgot the name of it now. I know you probably have not seen this movie, Nina. But there was a movie out not too long ago where a husband and wife were these big scientists, and the husband was dying of some sort of disease or whatever, and he was on the cusp, I think, of extracting the personality, the demeanor, the whatever makes you, Nina, you. He was able to pull that out and put it into a computer program or a laptop or whatever, so that future generations can actually talk to their ancestors live, physically live, because it would be able to know and understand and react to questions and all this other stuff. And so he was dying. He died. His wife then tried to download it and finish his project, and was able to do so and recreated him in a sort of digital phase. And she was able to speak with him and talk with him. But then the story goes is that he advanced higher because he was mechanical. He was, digital. That the idea and the power behind that encouraged him to take over the world, and it was actually for bad, not good. But that was an interesting. It was an interesting theme and genre for that movie or whatever.
For science fiction.
But it got me thinking to the idea, because I think at that time I was doing the show, my old show, and doing stuff like this, and so it got me thinking to the idea that could there be that possibility that you can actually have your personality traits and stuff like that downloaded. I didn't fully agree with it.
So you're trying to say at one point...
Don't think I'm retarded.
So you're trying to say at one point they're going to be able to take your essence, pretty much, and download that into a computer. And that computer, machine, is going to be what you would be.
I don't know.
That's insane.
I'm not closing the door. You're closing the door on it. I'm saying, if back in 1982, would you have thought that we would have the things that we have right now?
You mean like computers and cars that drive themselves?
Yeah.
Probably not.
So, to be fair, how can you say that those things can happen?
That's machines. Those are people building machines making things better. You're talking about taking a living thing and trying to put it into a machine. I don't think that can be done. I'm not going to say it might never happen, okay? There may be a possibility, I guess, but it just doesn't seem plausible.
This is not a great, what is it, simile, metaphor, whatever. This is not a great comparison, but we're able to read brain waves, correct?
You mean detect activity?
Correct. We're able to record it and detect it and show it.
Correct. Yeah.
So with that archaic and limited technology that we have right now, we're able to do that. Where 100 years ago, to be able to say that at a dinner table to somebody, you'd probably be beaten by a stick. Right?
Okay.
So the idea of being able to read brain waves is the sort of...
Well, you're not reading brainwaves. You're
measuring them.
You're watching. Right. Okay.
But as you're measuring them, you're able to read it and show, where it's going.
That there's activity.
What it's affecting. Where is it affecting in your brain? So on. It's like, where are those electrodes being hit? What parts of the brain? People can find that out now. We can. So
okay.
Being able to read that alone, it's sort of the kindergarten grade to this life of, going to college, where at some point I think they're going to be able to reveal our dreams, reveal our memories, I'd say.
Yeah, I don't know.
You are so close-minded. So close-minded.
It's not that I'm close-minded. Do I think technology will advance and do bigger and better and greater things? Absolutely. I'm sure there are things that are going to happen that I can't even comprehend at this moment. But do I think that they can take your brain and literally take your dreams and pretty much download it so you can see it and view it? I don't know. It's not like a man building a machine and making it better and better and and building a bigger and better thing. You're taking a living thing and trying to make it a machine not trying to make it into a machine, but literally trying to do something like that. I just don't think it's possible. We'd be like the Matrix and have a hole in the back of our head and just put a jack in it. It's just crazy.
I'm not saying... you're talking about artificial intelligence, which people have been talking about, that could be our future. And that's something a little bit different than what I'm getting at. I'm not saying that you can take... I'm not saying that I can replicate you, Nina, and put you in a robot. And if I had a conversation with that robot...
I'm talking about my dreams. You're saying
right.
that we could take our dreams and view them. I just don't think that... I don't see that happening. I don't see that as... How can you tap into that portion of your brain of a living person and project that somewhere and be like, this is it's a movie. Like, you could see it coming out of my brain.
I know, it sounds far-fetched. I completely agree with you. Completely agree. But, for the idea that I can say that I can walk around this earth with something that is 7 inches by 3 inches in my hand, and I can have the world, all the knowledge in that piece of mechanics back in 1982, I'd say you're fucking crazy. You're crazy.
And I agree with you.
But
it's a machine that you're talking about.
But even when we were roaming around this earth with beepers and pagers on our hips, I still never thought that the idea of having a telephone in my hand and walk around with would ever be possible. I never thought that.
And I agree with you. I'm not saying that we're not going to make leaps and bounds in technology and do things that I can't even imagine right now. I'm just saying that taking somebody's brain, somebody living, we're not talking about some dead person, a living person, and taking their dreams and being able to extract that so you could see it is to me, it's like some kind of horror film or something. It doesn't make sense.
That's what I said. It is kind of frightening to be in that world if that is true, because who knows what could happen. If that is a possibility, and well, not a possibility, but a reality, that's kind of scary to live in a world like that. I agree with you. But I think that it is going to be coming.
I don't think we'll see it. We'll be dead. If it does come, we won't be alive for that.
I hope it happens in our lifetime, because I want to turn around to you and say, I fucking told you so. And I should actually make a bet with you right now so I can get rich when I'm 65, because that's when it's going to happen.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. But I
clearly.
Yes, really. Let me see if I can pull this up. I think I have a video, or actually an audio clip, that I wanted to share. Excuse me, that I wanted to share. And it's by a woman by the name of Shelby Harris. Forgive me, I haven't been able to get a chance to look her up in her credentials. But I found her on YouTube, and she's explaining the idea of don't bother interpreting your dreams, because it's not meant to be interpreted. As we were talking earlier about the idea that if you dreamt of a snake or falling down, or blue flowers, what does it mean in your life? And is it a foretelling and a fortune of what's to come in the future? Which I don't believe in that. And so this woman.
See, you say you don't believe that, right? But how come people have this? How come people have similar dreams? Like the falling dream. A lot of people have that falling dream, that they're falling, or the people walking around naked in certain places.
A lot of people, a lot of things that I've read and saw was that it is your brain interpreting your experiences. It's your unconscious brain interpreting the experiences. So if, I don't know, maybe it could be that you have let's just say you have a fear of falling, and subconsciously that's in your mind. Obviously, their fears are typically in your subconscious. That while your brain is pulling apart the important things that have gone on in your day, as it's visualizing it, that there could be certain. It's like a gnat flying around. That's the falling down, that experience and that visual of falling down. It's just the gnat that's just in the way of while your brain is compartmentalizing and doing its job while you're sleeping, that this just pops up, because it could be a fear, it could be a conscious thought that you may have all the time. It could have been an experience that you had a long time ago or recently or whatever it may be. And so multiple people can have dreams of falling down. Does that make sense? Or?
What about the walking naked dream? I mean, it's just funny to me that a lot of people have a similar type dreams. Like, that's got to be a little strange.
But we could all have similar types of thoughts. And so it could just be an embedded thought in your head. Are you saying that you can interpret your dreams for something that it's supposed to relate to your current life or future life?
The way I think about dreaming is what I just said. I think it's just your brain just dumping stuff out. Like it's got to go to rest.
Right.
That's what it is. I don't think you can, because you lose a tooth, somebody's pregnant or having babies or whatever the hell like they say. I don't think that, but I think it's unusual that a lot of people have a similar type of dream.
I've even heard stories of people, when you talk about same type of dream, I've heard stories where two different people are having the exact dream, the exact experience. Have you ever heard
like they're dreaming the same dream?
Yeah, sometimes even that they're together in the same dream.
Wasn't that like a movie?
Yes. But I'm not talking,
I don't know.
I'm not talking
I
about the
don't know about
movie.
that.
I'm talking about experiences that people say that they've had.
I realize that, but I don't know.
All right, let me just play this audio clip from this Shelby Harris.
Go ahead.
She talks about Freud and she talks about Carl Jung, and then she talks about the modern theory that we just talked about. So this sort of sums it all up and puts it into a little bubble. So just take a listen to this. It's only a couple minutes.
So the older models, when you look at Freud and you look at more Jungian thought, and there's still people who really use the Jungian thought of dream analysis, is really that you analyze the dreams. The dreams are there for a purpose. For some people, they say it's about wish fulfillment. It's about the things that you never were able to do in your day, you're actually fulfilling at night. There are other people who will say that it's actually telling you something. If there's a lot of fear that's going on, if there's a lot of anxiety, it's manifesting itself in your nocturnal world, so that analyzing it can help to open up basically thoughts about what you need to do during the day. So a lot of people who subscribe to the psychoanalysis, the Jungian thought, will really focus a lot on dreams, the meaning, and how it can be used to help you during the day. Now, if you go to more modern thought, there are different, it's actually quite a controversial area. There are some people who believe that dreams really are just kind of a throwaway thing. They're just a way of your brain processing what's happened during the day, but there's really no meaning to them. A lot of imagery of just flashes of what happened. There are other people that think that dreams actually do serve a purpose, but what that purpose is, we're not really sure. So some people will believe that it actually does have some psychological representation of what's going on in the day, but there's no need to sit and really analyze it. There are other people who think, like myself, that dreams are almost, they're a reenactment of what happened during the day, but it's a way of you figuring out in your brain processing to figure out what does it need to hold on to and remember, and what can it just throw away. So it's like your brain has a large filing cabinet, and it's opening up each drawer, and it's taking in various images and memories from the day, consolidating what it needs to, and puts it in whatever file. And then if there's something that doesn't fit in any of the files and doesn't really belong, you'll forget about it. So it's a way of really getting a succinct way of storing things in your brain.
So that is basically similar to what we've just been talking about, and the idea that this compartmentalizing and just figuring out what we need to keep and what we really don't need, and that's sort of the modern theory. Did that say anything different than what we just talked about, Nina, or your thoughts?
No, I think that's, for me, what we were talking about the entire show so far. So
I had done a little bit more of a deeper research into dreams, and more along the lines of the modern theory of the idea of this compartmentalizing and cleaning up your brain and your mind and your bodies, cleaning up these memories that you've stored in your brain. And I read that as Shelby was just talking about towards the end, that people tend to subscribe to the idea that your dreams could actually, there could be a reason to why we do dream, and it could be an affectation to you mentally or physically. And so when I listened to her say that, I actually then went and researched a little bit deeper into that, and I found some tests and research that were done to groups of people, many different tests and many different groups of people. And they all came back with sort of the same similar type of conclusion and test results. And what they did was they took a group of people who would have a normal night and allow these patients to sleep and dream, to be able to get into the REM stage of sleep and be able to dream. Now, these doctors don't know what they were dreaming about, but they were able to, again, record their brainwaves to know that during this REM stage, or when they went into the REM stage, which is rapid eye movement. And so if you were to lift up your eyelids, you'd be able to see that your eyes are darting back and forth. That's why they call it rapid eye movement. And scientists still don't even understand why that happens during the dream state. But they were able to record and find out that, yes, there was activity going on while they were in the REM stage, and so therefore they understood that these patients were dreaming. Then the other group, the second group, was more or of a controlled group where they didn't allow these people to get to the REM stage to be able to dream. I don't know if they were hooked up to electrodes or not, or whatever, but I guess chemically or mechanically, whatever the term is for your brain, that they did not allow your brain to get to that REM stage where you were able to dream. So you still had a peaceful sleep. You weren't able to dream to get to that point. And what they found afterwards, that after they tested these folks, these two separate groups, on their the next day's mental capabilities, decision making, mathematical skills, and all that other stuff, they found that the group that was not allowed to dream actually did close to 50 to 60% less than the folks that were able to actually get into the REM stage and sleep. And they're making a correlation that possibly the dreams, even though it could be that your brain is just compartmentalizing and moving things away from the forefront of your consciousness back into the long-term memory of your brain, that that we're not able to hold on to new experiences. And that may be the reason why we, or that group, was not able to mentally and physically do the challenges and the tests that they were able to do, because they were not able to dream. What are your thoughts?
Well, it would seem about right, since I think that dreaming is just dumping everything that happened in the day. So you can't not dream and be able to hold on to all this information. I would think that would clog up your head.
Right. It's almost like, you've got like a, like as Shelby was saying, you've got a filing cabinet. And the filing cabinet in the front of your head is what you've retained during that daily exercise of living. And when you go to sleep, your brain takes all of the files out of that file cabinet and puts them in the back filing cabinets, so that now you've got an empty filing cabinet for the next day to hold more memories. And to not be able to fill that cabinet with more files, that you're able to make more mistakes, not be 100%, and to be able to sort of really affect you mentally and physically. And that's why a lot of people say too that there could be a correlation, because there's a deterioration of this filing cabinet as you get older. When they say as you're getting older you forget a lot of things, that your mental capacity is sort of lower, even much so that even with older people, that they make a joke and they say that their filters are uncensored. Like I remember my grandmother saying, she would curse somebody out, right in front of their face, where I'm sure when they were 25 years old would never do that. But their filters are different when they're older, because that filing cabinet, maybe it doesn't have as many drawers anymore as you get older. And so that's what these scientists are doing right now, to try and figure out what is the purpose of dreams and why is it so important for our lives.
My theory with that whole getting older thing and them just saying whatever they want is because they've lived their life. They're done. They don't care
give
anymore.
A shit.
That's right.
But I think because they don't give a shit anymore, I think it's because that part of the brain doesn't have the capacity to hold anymore. And so it reflects onto their personality and the way that they go about their lives. And so because they're not able to really retain much.
Don't you find it fascinating that doesn't happen to everyone when they get old? It's different for every single person.
Right, and I think that has to do with the health of the human body, and whether or not some can do it because of the deterioration of their brain mentally and physically of their body, that it also affects that filing cabinet.
I just think the brain is so complex, we'll never figure it out. It's going to take billions of years, billions and billions.
I agree with you that it is very complex, and I don't think we'll ever get to be at 100% knowledge of what the brain is. But I think we're going to push the limits And I think we may be able to get to the point where, as we're saying right now, it's impossible. It's virtually impossible for anyone to reveal the dreams that we're dreaming, or to actually show it in real time, even as we're dreaming, the visuals on a screen somewhere. I say, that's strange. It's odd to me. It's almost Twilight Zone-ish, but just from the knowledge of what we've done technology in the last 20 years, I can't say that that's not impossible. I can't. And I know you disagree with me.
Is that because I didn't say anything right away?
No. Well, yes. But it's interesting to know that about you. I mean, I know you're more of a realist.
Mm-hmm.
I know that if there's no real explanation to something, or it hasn't happened to you, you just negate it. You don't even put your money into that bank.
Well, it depends on what you're talking about. There's things that sometimes I'm like, okay, maybe it's possible. Do I 100% believe it? Probably not, but maybe it's possible.
But it's funny how for this, you close the door still.
Because I just think it's, like I said, I just think the brain is so complex that we'll never figure it out. I just think it's just, I mean, think about it. In less than a second, I could be thinking about something else and my hand could be moving. And that's my brain doing that. Like, think about how quick that response is. And you're not thinking about moving your arm, you're just doing it. You know what I'm saying? The way, like, that's what I'm saying. It's just so complex.
But we know how the brain works and how it does that.
I understand that, but the time frame in which things happen, and certain parts of the brain we get, and blah blah blah. I understand that. I'm not saying we're not going to make advancements and find out more things, and I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, I find it hard to believe that they can be able to take your dreams and like project it on a big screen. Like, I really do. I think that's just something that's just, to me, seems far-fetched.
It's funny how the choice of words that you say, it's far-fetched. I mean, I agree with you. I really do think that that as of right now, I can't see it happening. It is strange. It is Tales from the Dark Side-ish. It's not the norm. I get it. But what is the norm now? There is no norm.
Well, I don't think we have a normal. We don't have a bar set to normal anymore.
No, but I think there's no sustaining of things. How it was from, the 40s to the 60s, where pretty much, you had the advancement of television, black and white, for a long period of time. Now, when things are invented, they're upgraded and improved upon as soon as that item is out on the shelf. I'm just saying it's the quickness of the advancement of all of technology that is leading me to believe that it just keeps doubling and tripling and quadrupling, and it just is going at a rapid pace that I can't see it taking another 100 years to go to Windows 12, right? So it's just moving so fast that I think that we're going to be learning so much from what we just learned right now at this second, that the next 10 minutes there's another improvement, there's another advancement of something, and that's why I just think it's just going to be quicker than what it has been in the past.
But think about it. How much time, money, and effort goes into what you just said, as opposed to about dreaming and all that other stuff? as opposed to how much time, money, and effort goes into technology, electronic-wise, and all that other stuff. People are plugging billions and billions of dollars into that industry. I don't think that they're plugging billions and billions of dollars into finding out everything about the brain and projecting dreams up on a screen. So I think that's why we make more of an advancement in certain areas, because they're plugging so much money into that stuff. Whereas this side of science is, I'm sure they're funded, but they're not as funded as they would be to make a Sony TV or to make a Windows 15 or whatever you want to, an iPhone. You know what I'm saying? That's why I think that I don't think that it's ever going to get to that point.
But the two fields are not separate.
They're separate in dollar amounts, 1,000%. You don't believe that?
True, yeah.
I don't believe that all that money that's flooding into the electronic industry is flooding into brain research.
But as they advance in those technologies, the scientists will take whatever's out at that moment and try and see if they can utilize it for testing.
But how long is it going to take for them to be able to utilize that, because they don't have the funding for that? That's why I'm thinking it's never going to happen.
All right, like I said before, when I'm 65, I will call you wherever you're at and say, I fucking told you so.
Well, come to my graveside. I don't know if we're going to make it 65.
All right, so there was a link, Nina, that I sent you earlier about sort of facts. It was like, I don't know, 97 or 100 one-liner types of facts about dreams that I figured it would be cool to go through them and sort of remark and talk about. I'm probably not going to get through all of 97 of these, but I'll try and see if I can pick a few out or a bunch of them as I can, and we'll talk about them. I wanted to share them because as I was reading them, some of them were really interesting to me, and some of them, again, what I think is interesting, I think everybody in the world thinks is interesting. But I love history, and I love finding about things, because a lot of the things that I find, I can bring up in a conversation, or it's sort of nonsensical type of tidbits that I may have that I'll throw out there, and people just turn around and say, you're a fucking idiot, or you're weird, and then go on their way. But I don't care. I like to share these things. So here is a list of about 97 fun facts, real facts, history facts about dreams itself. And so, let me see where I can... You have it in front of you, Nina?
Yep. Just start with number one, really.
All right. Number one, Number one. Egyptian pharaohs were considered children of Ra, which is the Egyptian sun god, and thus their dreams were seen as being divine. Why do you want me to pick that one out?
Why would you start that as number one?
I don't think it's number one, meaning it's
I just have to talk to the person that wrote this article.
I don't think number one meant that it's the number one important point.
No, I understand that, but why start off with that one?
Well, they got to start off
there's
somewhere.
So many more interesting ones than number one.
Well, it was interesting to me. I never knew that part. I love Egypt, and I've read a whole bunch of stuff about pyramids. What's God?
This is why I'm here, to keep you grounded.
I'll move past that comment. It was interesting to hear that was part of their culture at that time. Number two says, in Chinese province of Fujian, people called on their ancestors for dream revelation by sleeping on graves. See, now
boring.
Let me just say this. You've gone from, I don't know what year that was, but you've gone from that time frame to now. Okay? Can't be more than a few hundred years. And we think that that's ridiculous.
I don't think it's ridiculous. I just think that's what they believed, but it's boring.
All right, you pick out a really cool, interesting topic. Go ahead.
I don't know if it's cool, but it's very interesting. It says the average person has about 1,460 dreams a year. That's about 4 dreams a night.
Did you not think that you had multiple dreams per night?
No, I never knew that. I would never have thought that.
Really?
Yep. I would think it was just one type of jump and then called it a day.
See, I don't know if you know this about REM sleep, but REM sleep is that stage that I said or the REM stage, is basically the period of time where you are able to dream. It's the point where your brain has gone into where it has shut down your motor skills. Otherwise, we'd punch the shit out of our loved ones in the bed. Although I've done that many times, so I must have a disability. But your brain gets to the point where it's able to visualize experiences. And so it does this over a 90-minute period during the night. So from stage 1 to stage 4 of REM, that's 90 minutes. After that, it starts up again and continues, and then continues until you wake up. Did you know that?
No.
So you could have, let's just say you only dreamt one time during that REM sleep. You now have, if you slept, 7 hours a night, let's just say that's sort of kind of average, probably above average, that you, during that time, you probably could have already had 6 or 7 dreams at that point.
I think that's crazy.
I think it's interesting in how they know. I mean, I guess I know how they know it because they can measure the brain waves that are going on, but it's interesting to know that you only have that 90-minute period.
Right.
Any other interesting lines?
Well, you go pick one out. I gotta look.
During REM sleep, the flow of blood to the brain increases, as does the brain's temperature. Additionally, both the penis and the clitoris become erect.
Whoa, isn't that special?
I know that during REM sleep, I've also learned that your brain is more active, meaning there's more electrical firings that are going on in your brain than your brain fires while you're awake. Did you know that?
I did not.
It's almost as if your brain is much more active while you're asleep. But people have said with this modern theory that it is because your brain is working harder because it's sort of doing it on its own, and to be able to I guess create the energy or whatever it is to be able to pull apart all of the memories of the day and compartmentalizing it. It's like working overtime.
Right. Here's one. I'm going to go buy some of this tomorrow. Vitamin B complex and St. John's warts have been shown to produce more vivid dreams. Since I don't remember anything, I'm going to go out and buy that tomorrow.
More vivid dreams. Have you ever taken anything like medications or, I don't know, anything that has sort of given you vivid dreams? But, like, you don't remember what they were, but you had like these weird, crazy dreams.
Like I've felt like I was moving in some of my dreams. Like, do you mean like that kind of vivid thing? Like if I was doing something in the dream, I felt like I was moving my arms in my bed.
No, that not so much physical. It's more of the actual mental, the actual dreaming. Like, I remember, and this is one of the side effects when I tried to quit smoking, taking Chantix, and taking that medication gave me. I don't remember the dreams, but I know that they were so freaky and weird. It was almost like psychedelic, almost. That I remember waking up the next morning and saying to myself, "What the hell did I just go through?" And that was one of the reasons why I didn't like taking Chantix.
I believe I had some of those moments.
Drug induced?
No, not drug induced.
No, I mean medication, drug induced.
Maybe it came from medication, as possible. I mean, it is possible.
Here's a point, number 26. Large bodies of water often symbolize the unconscious. So dreams of drowning may indicate being overwhelmed by unconscious. I have no idea what that means. Unconscious. Repressed issues. Drowning can also symbolize that the dreamer is entering a new stage of development and the old stage is dying. See, this is where people start to interpret what the dreams mean. And I don't subscribe to that. I believe that the brain is just replaying some of the visuals from your day that you may be interpreting as whatever that dream is, because it's replaying it so that it can, cut it out and put it somewhere else where it needs to be, or get rid of it if it doesn't need to be anywhere. Right? Am I right? Or do you believe that you can interpret dreams?
I don't believe you can do that.
All right. So I'm not sure. First of all, I don't understand how anybody can come to the conclusion that of an interpretation like this.
Well, you're making an inference, I guess. Like, if you're standing there naked in front of everyone, that means that you're vulnerable. Like, okay, I get it. I mean, I'm inferring that from what's happening, but you don't know if that's the truth or not.
Right. Let me take that example for a second. So, because there's so many interpretations or sides to the story. Like, if you had a dream that you were naked, wouldn't you say that you have so much courage and that you have the, I don't care about what anybody thinks of me, not the opposite of being
How
vulnerable.
many people are walking around going, I'm not, I'm not a supermodel that I'm like naked in my dream and I'm like, you go girl. No way.
I guess you're right. I guess the interpretation is more along the lines of how your personality is, or your own interpretation of yourself. But the dream itself, the visual of somebody being naked in a crowd of people, or in front of their home, or on their steps of their school or whatever, if they have a dream about that, I can see why people would interpret it as vulnerability. But I can also see it as a strength. That you're brave enough to do that. I mean, granted, it is in your dream, but you're brave enough to do that in front of school.
Yeah, I don't know. That's taking a lot of liberties right there, I think.
Well, isn't the same thing?
But exactly, I was just
vulnerability?
going to say that people I think relate better to something. People would.
Start again.
People relate to. Why can't I say it? People would relate better to when you say, I'm being vulnerable because I'm naked. I don't think people would relate to, this is brave of me standing here naked. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's more believable for you to be vulnerable than for you to be brave standing there naked. That's why I think people accept that more of an answer.
Here's something that just popped in my head. Here's the thing. Tarot card reading. Okay? Have you seen the cards, tarot?
Yeah.
So there's a book that goes along with them, or there's classes and stuff like that you get taught about what the meanings of what those illustrations represent. And a lot of times, obviously they have, when it's right side up and upside down, what they mean differently. I've talked to people where they literally have the illustration of the card, and they talk about, if it's somebody with a sword in a globe or something like that, they literally are explaining to me that the sword is in the globe because you're taking action for your life right now, and you're making a really big decision, and blah blah blah, whatever it is. You can, I don't know, this is me, but I'm not 100% on the whole tarot reading bandwagon. And so interpreting the tarot cards is similar to interpreting dreams. You can go, like I was just saying before, you can go in any direction and give an interpretation because maybe you may think it fits into that person's life.
Right.
So, like, when people go to dream interpreters to say, I've got this dream and whatever, I was standing naked in front of a school, what does it mean? Well, I'm sure they can visually read you and see a little bit about your personality, and maybe by the clothing that you're wearing or how your hair is done, whether or not you've got makeup on, or if you're a male, if it's whatever. They can sort of get a sense of who you are, small, but they can get a sense of who you are and make an interpretation that would fit you better. So the whole idea of dream interpretation to me is bullshit. No?
I totally agree with that.
I just think I mean I'm going a little bit further than you. There's no sense in interpreting it because it's what clinically what your brain does, and blah 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 blah. What I'm saying even further than that is whoever is trying to get rich or whatever it is with dream interpretations, I think is just deceiving and it's bullshit. It's even further to the idea that they're utilizing and they're banking on people's vulnerabilities to portray something that they claim is real.
Well, think about it. People that are going to somebody to interpret a dream or whatever the case may be, for them it's probably some type of therapy or something they need to get off their chest. So it's different for that person than it would be for somebody like me or you.
Wait, say that again? What do you mean?
Like, think about it. People that go to somebody to get their dream interpreted is somebody that's looking for answers.
Right. I agree with you.
So if somebody to give them an answer, they have to go to these people, or whatever you want to call them, and they'll get an answer. And I'm sure that these people are trained in the right way to, just like if you go to a palm reader, they look at you, your facial expressions, your tics, whatever the case may be. Or maybe they even ask you about yourself before they interpret your dream so they know what you're about. So those people are getting advice because that's what they want. And that's what they need. For somebody like me and you to go into one of those places, we're going to laugh at them because we don't believe the same thing that person that went there before us needs to believe.
I wouldn't not so much laugh, but I do have I guess I don't know, maybe it's 50-50 skeptical side of myself in regards to psychics. I've gone to a few, and the few that I've gone or had an experience with have just shown me that there is nothing to the idea or the mysticism of it all. I have obviously watched television shows where I've been blown away, but it's a television show, supposedly reality. So I can't say that those are true or not. So the idea of going to a psychic, if I were to go to one tomorrow, I would give them the benefit of the doubt because I want to see if this is real. I want to know. I believe that there is the possibility that people can talk to the dead, obviously, and be able to talk to loved ones and also have the ability to see in the future. I just have never met or known anyone that has that ability to show me.
Well, you keep looking, and when you find one, let me know, because I'll come with you.
Do you remember, I told this story a while ago, but do you remember, maybe you weren't with me, that we went to the psychic on Northern Boulevard?
Yeah, it's the one that was upstairs.
Yeah, I think it was upstairs.
Yeah.
You were with me?
Yeah, I was there. I think we were with your sister, too.
Do you remember when I went to them, I don't know if it was palm reading or what. I don't know what this woman did. I can't remember. So long ago. But I remember that, I don't remember if I offered this information or not, but I think this was after the whole Joanne, I don't want to say her last name.
Yeah.
It was after that whole incident that I don't even know why I was going there. I don't even know why we were going there.
I think we went there because it was around Halloween.
Oh, was that it?
Yeah, I think so.
But again, I don't know if I offered the information about her or not to the psychic, but what she did was basically tell me that she put a curse on me, and in order for the curse to be removed, I would have to pay $300 for a candle for the psychic to light up for me. Like, I couldn't even take the candle home and light it for myself. She had to light it for me.
Uh-huh.
And
she told me the same thing about the candle.
Yeah, it was bullshit. And, I've seen that happen to other people as well. And it's just a money thing. That's all.
Well, there are people that suck their life savings down to these people that prey on them, which is horrible.
I know. How did we get into talking about psychics?
I don't know. You started it.
All right. Number 42. The word dream is most likely related to the West Germanic drogmus, meaning deception, illusion, or phantom. Interesting. Or from the Old Norse dragar, ghost apparition, or the Sanskrit dra, I guess it means seek to harm or injure. Is that interesting?
Fascinating.
You're such an ass. You're such an ass.
I don't think you should call me that on the radio. That's not nice on Facebook Live.
Uh-huh.
Should be nicer to people.
The Iroquois, this is number 49, the Iroquois Indians have an annual dream-sharing festival in which they act out their dreams, either literally or in pantomime.
Yeah, it's never happening.
All right. This one, I know a lot of people have had experiences with, and this is probably what you were alluding to, Nina, when you were talking about falling. The old hag syndrome. Did you ever hear that?
Nope.
The old hag syndrome, or it's sort of sleep paralysis. As I mentioned before, when you are in the REM stage of sleep, your brain paralyzes your body and allows you to be able to visually see and experience the dreams without acting them out physically. And so there comes a point in time where some people, it's growing more in numbers in recent years, where people are actually slightly waking from their dream, but their brain has not shut off the paralysis of the body. And so you feel as though you can't move. You never had that feeling, Nina?
No, that's horrible.
And so they call it this old hag syndrome. It's sort of mystical and paranormal in nature. And they say it occurs in as many as 40% of all people. It happens when a sleeper wakes, recognizes his or her surroundings, but is unable to move for as long as a minute. The folklore explanation is that it is caused by a witch or an old hag who was coming to get you in your sleep. They say that it during this sleep paralysis time, that's where a lot of people have what they claim to have experiences of paranormal in nature. A lot of people say that they get abducted by aliens during this period of time. A lot of people say that they see dark shadows or ghosts in their room, and that's sort of why they are paralyzed as well. And your brain at that time, it's kind of weird. Your brain at that time is awake but not awake, and so it's actually hallucinating during that stage. And so you are awake, but your brain is still feeding visions or still doing what it's doing, and your awake brain is trying to decipher it. I don't know if I'm going in circles, but during that point, that's when many people say that they have these types of experiences with the paranormal, with ghosts and spirits, or with aliens.
Aliens.
You've got these comments tonight that I'm not happy with. This attitude of yours needs to change, Nina.
Here's it. This is interesting.
Good.
It says, in general, pregnant women remember dreams more than other populations. This is largely due to the extreme hormonal changes during pregnancy. I think that's pretty cool.
Do you... yeah, I guess I could ask the question. Do you think in that situation the mother is also...
Oh, dreaming for the baby.
Or experiencing that experience of the baby? Do you think?
Do I think that the mother is experiencing dreams from the baby? That's what you're asking me?
It is being affected. Her dream state is being affected by the baby's dream state.
That's way too much information. I think that the mother may be affected because of all the hormone changing her body. I don't know if the baby that's growing inside her has anything to do with it.
I'm throwing that question out there. I don't know. I'm just thinking, because the mother and child are connected, that obviously when a mother is emotionally upset or anxiety, that actually affects the baby's health as well. And so that's all occurring in the brain, in the mind.
But that would be is the baby seeing what you see?
No,
probably not.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying though that the activity of the baby in the brain is somehow possibly being transferred to the mother.
But if dreams are about, dumping information, the baby doesn't see anything, so there's no information to dump.
Oh no, it is. I believe it's. You don't believe a baby can dream?
I don't know. It's a good question.
I think a dream doesn't mean that you have to have, a physical experience.
Yeah, but I think that the way what I think a dream is just your brain getting rid of all this crap when you're sleeping. I don't think a baby has crap to get rid of.
Something else just popped into my head. I'm going to look it up right now.
Oh, God, are you going to start looking up baby dreaming?
No, it has nothing to do with baby. Okay, I just had a thought that could patients in a coma dream?
Well, how are you going to know that?
You can measure when they are in a REM state.
Have they done research on that?
Apparently they have, and they say patients in a coma appear unconscious. They do not respond to touch, sound, or pain and cannot be awakened, obviously. Their brains often show no signs of the normal sleep-wakefulness cycle, which means they are unlikely to be dreaming. I was just curious to see...
See? Because they're not able to dump information because they're not awake to get it.
But they're not getting any information.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
But a baby is not in a coma state. A baby is awake.
Yeah, but what information is the baby getting?
It's surrounding. Don't you know when a baby can react to voice and music? They get more active.
Okay, so they don't have the visual information, but they have what they hear.
Correct. So it's still stimulation. It's still an experience. It's sound or whatever.
So so here's my next question. If it only can hear and it can't see, how is that supposed to manifest itself into a dream?
Well, how do you know it can't see? Babies have...
Well, what does it do? Look at the navel?
It looks at its surroundings, whatever, within the placenta.
So it dreams in color, in red. or blue or whatever that's inside there.
Obviously, when a baby is born, they can only see black and white. So I'm not saying that they're dreaming of colors and they know what they're saying. I think visually they could be seeing something. I don't think they interpret and know what it is. But I think visuals are still being fed into the brain, however that is.
Okay, so the baby...
I'm going to look that up right now.
...can have dreams of an organ with the stimuli of what's going on outside the womb. Right? Is that what you're trying to say?
Because it's stimulated from outside
the womb.
Nature, yeah.
Right, that's what I just said. So, like, it could see, like, hey, I could see my mom's kidney. So it could dream of a kidney, but the what they hear is something different. So the voiceover is whatever goes on outside during the day.
At 32 weeks, your baby sleeps 90 to 95% of the day. During REM sleep, his eyes move back and forth just like an adult's eyes. Some scientists even believe that fetuses dream while they're sleeping. Just like babies after birth, they probably dream about what they know, the sensation they feel in the womb.
Well, I don't know if they're going to be able to ever test that.
They just did.
No, they said they believe. They're not sure.
No, but they believe that they are. They have tested that they do dream, or that they are in the REM state. Let's just say that.
Yeah, okay, but they don't know if they're dreaming.
They're capable of dreaming.
I'm capable of running a marathon. Doesn't mean I do it.
Have you ever heard of night terrors?
Yes.
Have you ever had one?
No.
Have you ever had an experience while dreaming where you know that you've screamed out loud?
Yes.
That's sort of a night terror.
I thought night terrors were more intense than that.
It is, but that's the basic line of a night terror. But your body is still paralyzed. You had that?
My body being paralyzed? Not that I can remember, no.
I've had that several times where I know, I don't remember the dream, but I know I wanted to get out of it, and I'm assuming I've wakened my brain to the point where I can see my surroundings, not be able to move. What I believe is actual screaming, but I audibly can't hear it. But I know that I have yelled because other people have heard it.
Okay.
I'm sharing my experience.
So you had a dream, and you woke up, but you couldn't move?
I was in that old hag syndrome, where you're sleep paralysis, where I was, I guess you call it partially awake, and I wanted to get out of it. Like, I wanted to get out of my bed. I wanted to be awake, but I was not able to do it. My body was, I guess the right word is, I can feel that my body was paralyzed. I couldn't move. Like, I like, there was one time I remember trying to move my arm, and I couldn't do it. But I wanted to get out, and I had to get out. However long this took, I don't know if it was a second or a minute. I have no idea. But I remember, and then finally I was able to get my arm to move and relax my body, and then went right back to sleep.
I can't say I've ever, not that I remember anyway, I've ever had that happen to me. I've woken myself up screaming.
But fully awake.
Yeah, like I popped up.
And then going back to sleep after that?
Well, sometimes no. Sometimes it was, I'm just going to stay up and watch TV now. Because whatever it was that scared the hell out of me, I didn't want to go back to bed. When
do you think... Well, I'll just read it. If is number 96. If a dreamer is awakened directly from REM sleep, he or she is more likely to remember the dream than if awoken during another stage of sleep or after a complete night's sleep. I wonder why that is. I mean, I understand the idea that it's, I guess, fresh in your mind because it just happened.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be the case if you're waking up from any dream, at any stage?
No, because you don't dream in any other stage. You only dream in the REM stage.
Didn't it say here, if your dreamer is awakened directly from REM sleep, he or she is more likely to remember that dream than if awoken during another stage of sleep.
Right.
Oh, okay, I got it. Sorry, I'm a little slow.
That's what I was saying. I'm assuming it's because it just happened, that you just had the dream, and so you woke up, you were awakened during the REM sleep. That's why you can remember it.
Right.
But
Gotcha.
I think Rosemary in chat, she said that she's able to wake up and write down her dreams and remember it. So I'm wondering if at that point she was still in REM and woke up at that point.
I read that somewhere. They say that when you first wake up is when you most remember your dreams, and you should write it down in a dream journal.
Right.
But they say that if you're, I don't remember what article it was, but if you're most likely to remember a dream if you wake up on your own, like if you're not startled out of a dream, like from an alarm or something like that. They say that that's the best time to remember, and you should write it all down. Otherwise, you won't remember the dream for the rest of the day.
See, I've woken up where I've known I've dreamt.
But you don't remember what it was about.
But I don't remember what it was about. And I think it may have, maybe it has to do with, like, this has happened several times where I've had a dream and then woke up, and I go, whoa, that was a crazy dream. And then
as the day goes on, you can't remember it.
No, but went back to sleep because I was in the middle of the night. Went back to sleep and then woke up, and then I know I had that weird dream because I remember waking up and saying that. But then at that point, I don't remember what the dream was.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Number 86. People who are born blind report no visual imagery in dreams, but they experience a heightened sense of taste, touch, and smell. Those who become sightless between the ages of 5 and 7 may have visual images in their dreams, while those who lose their vision after age 7 continue to see in their dreams, though images tend to fade as they grow older. I mean, that's kind of common sense, no? If you are blind, your dream is more likely to be more of a heightened sense of taste and smell and all that other stuff, and not so much imagery.
Right. Well, because that's all you know.
Correct. And so then, how does that fall into the line of the dream interpreters, that claim that our dreams are an aspect of who we are and what our future is?
Well, blind person is what a blind person is, right? They can't see.
No, what I'm saying is, because we know now that dreams are only of what our experiences are during the day, obviously, that for a dream interpreter to go to a blind person, a dream interpreter to go to anybody, basically, it doesn't mesh well, because the idea is that the dreams are not symbols for anything. They are just information that is being pulled from your day and moved around and shuffled. Because a blind man can only dream within taste, smell, and touch, and a person who is not blind can dream visually as well as everything else. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why are you looking at me like I'm an idiot?
Because I don't understand what point you're trying to make.
What I'm trying to say is that a dream interpreter would say that dreams are the universe or your unconscious mind trying to tell you something. Well, if my unconscious mind was going to try and tell me something, why wouldn't it give me a vision? In my dream, why wouldn't it give me a vision if I'm blind?
Because you never saw anything to relate it to.
Right, but what the dream interpreter is saying, it's I'm not controlling the dream. The dream is coming to me from the universe, and metaphysically, whatever it is.
Well, they'll say that they only give you what you can handle, and since you can't see, they give it to you in other ways. There's always a way around that stuff. Come on.
It's always an excuse.
It's always a way around something. Give me a break. Anything to make $1.
Finding oneself, this is number 75. Finding oneself in a cemetery during a dream may indicate sadness or unresolved grief. It may also represent one's dead past. I mean, come on.
Oh, Lord. Some people need to hear it, I guess. What are you going to do?
See, this is number 72. U.S. President Lyndon B. Johnson suffered from chronic childhood nightmares about paralysis that continued into his adult life. It's interesting that you keep having those same dreams
over and over.
Over and over again. So then that poses the question then, if your brain is deciphering the day's experiences, why do you have those same dreams? Or is it like wait, let me just interrupt you. Is it like this kind of scenario? Like you're studying for an exam and so you're on your laptop and you're playing music in the background. Is that same dream happening all the time? Is it that music in the background, that same dream, and your brain is what you are studying on your laptop? Does that make sense? Yeah. Could it be that?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I think it's different for everyone. I don't think it's the same for every person.
But could it be like a your mind or your brain comforting you while it's cooking the dinner?
I don't understand what you mean.
Like, your brain is saying, I got a lot of work to do. Here, child, go watch Barney on television while I do the dishes. And so I'm watching Barney. I'm watching my recurring dream while my mother is washing dishes, which means the brain is compartmentalizing things.
True, or it could just be something that he had feared, or that he, or it could just be something that you fear constantly, or something that you don't want to happen, or something that has happened to you, and that's always just in you. You think of it every single day.
But for example, my dream that I had of the White House and in the grass and the tree, what does that have to do with anything? I've tried to figure out what the heck that would mean.
Do you want me to interpret your dream right now?
I thought you don't believe in that crap.
I don't believe in that stuff. I just think it's, maybe you were flipping through a magazine and you saw the White House and all of a sudden you're running through grass. Like, who knows?
No, I'm not so much as far as trying to decipher why or what the dream is. Like, I could care less what it is. I'm more curious to know why does it keep recurring?
I am also curious about that.
And that just fascinates me, because the idea that I've known and that I believe in is that your brain is deciphering the daily experiences. So why is this coming up?
Maybe those days that you have that dream, you did the same exact thing, or drove past the same exact house, or you know what I'm saying? It could be.
I mean,
Because you don't have that dream every night, as far as you know, anyway.
Right. I don't know, but what I do know is I've had these experiences when I was a teenager, and I've had it the same when I'm 30. I doubt I've had the same experiences. I mean, I could, but I doubt it.
I mean, it could have been that something that triggered your memory 15 years later.
Right.
The same way. Yeah, I mean, it could be
the
anything.
feeling that you get, that same kind of emotion feeling that I had at the time when I first dreamt it.
Right.
Could be triggered when I feel that way again or whatever.
Right.
Interesting. What else? Pick one more.
Pick one more. This is for you. Chronic smokers who suddenly quit report more vivid dreams than they had when they smoked.
That's what I was talking about with the Chantix. So maybe it's not the Chantix itself. Maybe it's the stage that your brain goes through when you are in withdrawal.
Right. I was just going to say the DTs. It is possible.
I think, I do agree with you that the brain is so much more advanced than us that, I don't think we're going to ever figure out everything. And I think I mentioned this to you a while ago.
I'm sorry. Did you say you agree with me?
Yes, I agree with you. I say when I agree with you.
Write it down.
This is a recorded show, so you can play it back in your car every day and dream about it. Now I forgot what I was going to say.
Sorry.
I hate you.
It's just so often that you agree with me that I have to say something.
I think, the idea of the capabilities and the vastness that the power of the brain has, I don't think that we will encompass all of it. I mean, I think, this is what I was going to say. I think I mentioned to you a while ago that, we as humans only utilize 10% of our brain.
Right.
And so, could you imagine what it would be even if we had the ability to use 20%, just 15 or 20% of our brain, where we would be at. And so, I think, though, we will make tremendous advancements to the idea of understanding the brain.
I agree.
In 10, 20 years from now, that I think will be, if we would, take a time machine and come back, we'd be completely shocked. But maybe we're not meant to know everything about the brain. And I think that may be where, I know you're going to say this is corny, but maybe this is where the paranormal steps in.
What does that mean?
That means that the brain is not just physical. That there is a non-physical part of the brain, from what I believe is the consciousness, that is outside of the physicality of the human body and brain, that it is somehow connected to the paranormal, or somehow a part of, or possibly the reason of, the paranormal. I can see the smirk on your face. I can see it. Even though I'm staring at a skeleton on my screen right now, I can see the smirk on your face.
Oh, it's more like it's not a smirk. It's more like I don't.
It's
it
far-fetched.
doesn't make sense. It's weird.
That's what I believe.
I don't know. I'm not saying it's not a possibility, But yeah, I don't know.
My job on this show is to somehow get you to at least understand what that means.
Well, that's going to be a long time.
Well,
I don't know if we have that many years left.
We'll revisit that on the anniversary shows then. But that is going to be my job, to try and get you to at least understand what I just said. Maybe not believe in it. I don't want to try and change your beliefs. I just want you to be able to understand what that is.
Okay, all right. I know you're not going to change my beliefs, because my beliefs are what I believe in, and I'm pretty stubborn.
Right. I can't do that, but experiences can. And so
True.
That's what this is all about.
Well, that'll be interesting.
Conversations have been the one thing that actually made changes in the world. So conversations here could do a lot of things.
Absolutely. Now, if you were talking to me 20 years ago, I would tell you to go stuff it. But with age comes wisdom.
With me comes wisdom, too. All right. Any last words before we end the show tonight? Any, sort of roundabout buttoning it all up, or anything that you want to comment on?
No, I think I've buttoned and commented through the whole show, so I'm pretty good.
You're always just pretty good.
I know. I try.
Well, I hope everybody at least enjoyed the conversation. We tried to put out there some information in regards to what we believe dreams are, what people have claimed dreams are, and the reasons for them. We've gone through personal experience of dreams. We have gone to the clinical side of dreams. We've even talked about some nonsensical fun facts about dreams and interpretations that we hope that you all enjoyed out there, and hope you continue the conversation in your personal lives with your family and friends, and keep researching. Thank you again for joining us tonight. Again, remember, always come back here Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Central, and 7 p.m. Pacific Time, right here on The Conscious Mind. Thank you all, and have a great weekend. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Fear is defined as a feeling of agitation caused by the presence or imminence of danger.
You are still alive.
Why do you think people believe in ghosts?
They're here.
For fun?
Most people are so ungrateful.
I'm so sorry.
To be alive.
What do you want, Papa?